Hello, welcome everybody with me, Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams, wrapping up the week with another special guest to our platform, Sherri Moore from Send Me Tasks. She is from Canada. We are going to just be getting into it, everything that is relating to business and that we can also apply to our lives. So welcome, Sherri, with us today.
Thank you.
So tell us, what is Send Me a Task, and just give us a little bit about yourself and what's going on up there in Canada and Send Me a Task.
Oh, there's lots going on in Canada right now, but so Send Me Tasks is a virtual assistant and marketing company. When I
Mhm.
first started in 2017, we focused primarily with small business owners doing administrative.
Yeah.
And as things progressed and as I grew our team, we've now implemented a lot of creative aspects to the company as well. So my background's in media communications, so I thought, hey, let's just add, video, let's add web design, let's add graphic design. I kind of like to dabble in it, but found someone on our team that was fabulous. So things have grown and progressed as time has gone on, and it's just been a pleasure to meet small business owners, to uh, implement strategies, and ultimately position them for a level of success. So
Great.
yeah,
Great. So how long have you been doing what you're doing with Semi-Task? And is this
yeah.
your own company that you created?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, so we're incorporated in BC,
Mhm.
and we started in 2017. So I think we're in our fifth year now, if my math is correct this morning. Yeah, it's been a long journey. I know the first year or two as a business owner, you really don't know what you're doing, and unfortunately, stuff happens, and there's a lot of growing pains. And boy, did I learn in my first year. But once you got the right people in place and stuff, it was actually quite smooth for us. So
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about those growing pains in your first year. I always like to say that, when we're dealing with people in general, we always have what we call like a mixed multitude,
yeah,
meaning we have those from, various walks of life, some that are more
yeah,
seasoned than others, some who may not even be business owners, but
yeah.
might be entrepreneurs looking for that right business opportunity. But talk to us about that first year. Everybody's journey is so interesting.
Yeah.
So what did that look like for you as far as those growing pains in your first couple of years of business?
First year was literally, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how to, file taxes. I have no idea what it's going to take to get this business off the ground.
Yeah.
I was told from an early start to basically don't do the sole proprietorship. Go incorporate. It's the best thing for you. Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, that's great. So what I didn't realize was the financial implications of that. Excuse me. What do I mean by that? Having to hire an accountant, having to hire a bookkeeper to keep things above board, to know the rules and regulations, to um, ultimately be compliant.
Yes.
And that was the hard part starting because I didn't know who to turn to. So I
Yeah.
turned to family, and I legit found someone in our family that had a bookkeeping experience. Um, Said, "Hey, can I give you like something small because I'm just starting out, but can you do this for me? Can you help me? Can you help me file?" Um, that was the worst decision ever. It was the
Wow.
worst decision for us.
Wow.
Absolutely the worst. Because of that decision alone, that set me up for 2 years of terrible accounting. Um, I,
Now,
I, I
I'm
was
gonna
pulling my
stop.
hair out.
I'm gonna stop you. When you say that was the most terriblest thing, clarify what you mean when you say that was the most terriblest thing.
I didn't rely, although family is great and I love them all dearly,
Mhm.
um, I didn't rely on an outside opinion to correct my mistakes that I had made. Ultimately, the individual and the company, if you will, because it was a company, they didn't review my mistakes. They didn't go over and say, okay, you did this wrong. They just took what I had done and filed it.
Wow.
And I didn't know until I had actually hired an accountant how bad it really was. And then I had to fire that accountant because they also didn't clean up my mistakes and hire again. To
Mm.
find, like, it's one thing if you're starting with a business, It's one thing to hire an accountant, it's another thing to interview your accountant
Come
so
on.
that they have your best interest in mind. And that was something I did not know. I
Yes.
didn't know that was a thing.
Absolutely. I'm such a huge advocate of that. And for those that are listening, watching, however you are hearing, seeing this, again, I have a, YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams, and in one of my videos, I talk about that, and it's called the Profit in Recovery. And I talk about the importance of early tax planning. I talk about the importance
Yep.
of why we shouldn't even be waiting until January to try to start getting our documents and everything that we need, and how that really is an all year process, so that by the time, whatever time you decide to go in between January 1st and the 15th of April, you should already know where you stand going in before you're filing. I talk about, accountants and CPAs, the interview process, what kind of questions you should be asking your CPA to know if that CPA is right for you. So I'm a huge advocate of that, and I can't even say enough about that. I was fortunate, just to kind of give you a, kind of look at two little trajectories here. I was fortunate when I started off in business, I had mentors. And that's how I kind of got my degree is in business, but I was still in the corporate world. But I had mentors, and they were entrepreneurs. They had their own business. And finally, when it was making that transition, one of my mentors, she had her own business, and she had a lot of things, but one of her things that she had within her business was the whole tax piece. And she didn't know everything about taxes, but she educated herself on tax code. Now, tax code is scary. It's books, it's changing all the time.
Always.
It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but get, some basic understanding, get the verbiage, know about, okay, can I claim my vehicle, for my business? And if so, what are the deductions that I can use for my vehicle? Mileage, the depreciation of your vehicle. I'm not going to go on, but that's just to share about getting yourself educated, because it can be intimidating and then we want to back off. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's going to it affects you as a business owner. It affects you whether you're not a business owner. And so learning just the basic things about what you can claim, what you can't claim, look at it as a treasure hunt. One of my mentors said, if you have a business, live your life like a business. What does that mean? Every time you go out and you spend something, grab a receipt and then
Yep.
decipher, can I claim this for business? If so, start writing the date, what it was for, blah, blah, blah. If you're going out to eat, can I claim this for business? Yes or no? Did I have a conversation for a minute with this person I went out to dinner with? And if so, what was the objective of that meeting? And so she talks about living your life like a business, and this is one aspect, but very key aspect to living your life like a business, is getting our finances for our business in order, which starts with our taxes. I mean, we've got to get that, because there's so many deductions as business owners that we
Mm-hmm.
can take if we understand and have some basics. If we get a mentor who can tell us about some tax programs that can help us. And that's how I started, with a mentor who ended up hooking me up with somebody who had their own, who was who used to work for the IRS, matter of fact.
Those are
And
the best.
and he knows all. So once a month, I'm in a meeting.
Wow.
What's going on right now with our nation, and everything, the economy going up, how that affects us as business owners, because the two major things that affects our wealth is the inflation and taxes.
Yep.
Inflation and taxes. And so yeah, as a business owner as well, it's like, yes, get your finances in order.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they also didn't teach me like separate your finances from personal and business. So when you build an entity, it's a totally different, separate thing, right? But don't use the same credit card you pay for your personal items with. Don't use like the same bank account. Open up fresh new
Yeah,
things for the
yeah,
separate entity
yeah,
because you are not your business,
right.
and separate that mindset. So there's days that I will go out and go for dinner and be like, oh, I forgot my business credit card. I can't expense this, and I will actually make that discipline. Because it's as much of a learning experience for me to be diligent and expense things properly, but to separate the two entities, me
Right,
and the business, right?
right, right.
But
And
nobody told me that until I got into this whole sham
you
and
learned the hard
realized that
way. You learned the hard way.
I really did, but it didn't, it wasn't financially like, it was more stressful than financially burdening.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I went back to the accountant and said, "You didn't do your job. I hired you to do your job. I expect a refund." And I was lucky enough to get a full refund.
Mhm.
But, not everyone is as lucky as that. But honestly, you hire professionals, you pay the professional wage, but if they're not doing their job, call them out on it.
Yeah.
Because it's super important when your financial statement doesn't look right, it's super important to be a proactive business owner instead of a reactive business owner.
Talk about, for those who are listening, that whole separating your personal from business. You know, everyone has different terms for it, but that is
Yeah,
as plain as we can get it, separating personal from
yeah,
business. But just so guys can understand how serious this is, it really is piercing what, we call the corporate veil, because your
yeah.
business, that's like working for corporate. It's no different from, I saying working for, this big company down the street, or Sherry working for a big company down the street. The only difference is, you own the business, this is your
Mhm.
business versus working for somebody else. So it is the same attitude that you have for your business is the same attitude that you should have if you were back in the corporate world.
Sweet.
It's not like you leave the corporate world, you want to start your own business and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, you still going to have to put in the hours, the work. You're still going to have to follow the rules by the playbook.
Yeah.
And, we talk about the wealthy and, as long as I can remember, I heard that term, the wealth are getting wealthier while the rich are getting poorer. And, when I started learning tax code, which I love because it's like a treasure hunt for me, it's like, where's my money? I want my money. I want, as we call, in some cultures, our cabbage. We want our cabbage. And so it's like a treasure hunt for me, looking to see, okay, where is my money going? Number one, does my money need to be going that way? Where am I using money that I'm not using those goods or services for, that I can begin to streamline and use them more in a better way, or just move things over where I'm not active with this particular product or service, maybe putting on hold and shift those funds somewhere else. So it's like you got to look at it as like a treasure hunt, things that you are entitled to, but you have to do the work in order to get that entitlement. You just don't walk in, oh, I'm entitled. No, you have to show, and you have to be in accordance and in alignment with that entitlement that is dictated by, of course, our state and our government. For our businesses. I mean, the businesses
Yeah.
help drive a lot of the economy, but in order to understand the rules and to get back what we need to get, we need to understand the rules and play within the rules. But we call that separating that personal from business, piercing the corporate veil. And that's how serious it is. You're really piercing it. You're really, and I cannot tell you because I mean, with my entity, I get notifications all the time. Valerie, it's time to do this. It's time to have your agreement, your yearly agreement. If you don't, and the deadline is, and they will tell you straight up, if you don't get that agreement in, this is what's going to happen. you know, and it's like, ooh, so
Yeah.
that's how serious it is when we are business owners. We still have, yes, when we put in our dues, we get to, have that luxury of, choosing time when we come in, when we want to take vacations and da 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 da. But there's such a discipline in being a business owner. There's such a discipline. And it's like this line that you have to walk, so
Yeah.
yeah,
You got to make the money to be able to spend it.
right, right. Make the
Right. So if you're
money.
not diligent and you're not getting out there hitting the ground running, like you're not able to have that luxury to spend the money or
Mm,
to allocate. I know there's one thing I try to do every 6 months to a year, is I'll go through all my expenses. Like I'll start thinking about, do I really need this anymore? And I'll start closing stuff. There's subscriptions, there's different things that we do every year. And, for various reasons, for various companies, for various tasks, for example, if we do any graphic animations, so we do video content creation, but specifically animation. Well, sometimes that requires an Adobe license. So that client might be with us for 6 months developing multiple videos, and then all of a sudden go, you know what, I'm going to hold off for a little while. Well, do I need that subscription now? No, no, I don't need that subscription. So now I need to go back and cancel it and do my due diligence of keeping things thin so
Right.
that we can do these things. We can have a Christmas party on Zoom. We can, be a little bit more generous, maybe do a little bit more advertising, maybe put gas in the gas tank so I can make it to meetings. We can do these things because we've been diligent with our funds.
Absolutely. And that's when you get to really have, not that you're not having fun, because there's creative ways that you can have fun, but we're talking about leveling up. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that I, want to get involved in is, having a nonprofit where I have part of my proceeds from my business going to a nonprofit. But I want to have my nonprofit so that area that I believe in, for example, domestic violence, big pain point for me. And that is something that I want to have my proceeds, part of it go, maybe 10% of my proceeds from the business go into that nonprofit. But in order to do that, I've got to make sure that certain things are in place for me to have that luxury. So
Yeah.
maybe I can't do 10% right now. Maybe I do 2 to 5%, but again, it's that streamlining process of looking at, okay, what am I using or what am I doing that we're really not, you know, doing that much as what we thought we would. So just those
Absolutely.
little things. So tell us, switching gears a little bit, how did you work through that process? Because I think it's important for people to know when they have something. We're not trying to scare anybody. We just want to give you some real practicalities, which is the purpose of this platform, is to bring different speakers on, guests on, and just give you a different perspective of the behind the scenes with having your own business, what's going on in the industry, what different business owners do, and their expertise to kind of push your paradigm and get you thinking. So I always like to give people a takeaway, some value bombs that they can take away or even implement right away. So, but when we have these issues that will come up, it's good to hear how we work through them. So tell us, Sherri, how did you work for that? Because that's pretty huge, your first year to get that major wake up call, and I know for me, my experience was different because I interviewed my CPA, but if it wasn't for my mentor and taking this class and saying, she's a crack the whip type of person, and she reminds me of a Medea. if we've all heard of Medea. So she reminds me of a Medea where she's just cracks that whip like, okay. And my CPA is the same way, like, Valerie, you're not doing enough of, or Valerie, you did not do this. And then it's like, okay, you need to write that down going into the new year, as you proceed in this year, to make that a focus. So when the next year comes, you got that piece, because she'll yell at me if she sees a Valerie, you missed this deduction.
Hmm.
She will yell at me if I have missed a deduction that I could have easily well gotten, but because I didn't have enough documentation or didn't have any documentation, she'll be
Right.
like, Valerie, do you know how much money you lost because you did not have enough documentation to take this deduction?
Hmm.
She's like, Valerie, just because you may feel like, and she had to kind of push my paradigm. And she's like, okay, it may be coming through the IRS, but the tool still it was coming through your business. It was an activity.
Yeah.
And so your business still lost money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because and I come from the corporate world. So sometimes I'm stuck in some of those areas where it's like, okay, I'm still have the corporate mindset, but then it's like the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
And she has to say, Valerie, you lost that deduction because you didn't have enough documentation. You didn't have enough documentation to claim that. So that's still a loss for your business. Just because you feel like, okay, oh, it was a car deduction. Oh, it's not that important, blah, blah, blah. No, that's that's revenue, and it still applies to your business because you're using your vehicle for business in this particular aspect. And so I have to be like, oh shoot. Oh, so tell us, like, with that being said, and you shared what you had to learn major for you starting out in business. How did you work through that? Like, how did you come out on
It's
the other side?
it really does come down to talking, communication. I'm a firm believer in that. That simply going and asking and talking to those in your realm of influence, if you will, saying, "Hey, I'm in need of this area," and starting to get recommendations.
Mhm.
That's big for us, even just client wise. Our biggest avenue is referrals because at the end of the day, people know you and know personally, like they'll get a glimpse of the situation based off of, hey, I'm actually struggling with a bookkeeper. I can't find an accountant. Would you recommend anyone that you've worked with that has just like over exceeded your expectations? And you'll usually get somebody of a somewhat good value. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have anyone, network and get to know other business owners and start building that that base, or find a business mentor. But ultimately, it started with a conversation. I said to someone that had been a bookkeeper for years. She's actually on our team now because I brought her on, and it was like, hey, I'm so frustrated. Here's the situation. This
Yeah.
is what I'm going through. It's
Mhm.
been a year. It's been over a year at this point. I think it was a year and a half. I
Okay.
don't know who to turn to.
Yeah.
Is there someone that you can recommend? And I don't care if they are a paper Nazi. This is what I need right now
I like that.
because
See?
it's true. It's true. I don't want someone to sugarcoat it. I want someone to hit me with the biggest frying pan they've got because I understand I've made some mistakes and I don't want to be dealing with these things 5, 7 years down the road because I didn't get the support that I needed when I first started.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, especially when it becomes financial issues, not even legal. I would say your finances are the biggest part. Conflicts with clients, you can deal with those off the books without going to lawyers, without going to court. Your finances are like the number one thing you do not want to have wrong. You want to be up and up on that. You don't want to be dealing with the government. You don't want to be dealing with fines. You don't want to be audited. You don't want to be going there because that'll cost you more time and strife in the long run because they can go in Canada, they can go back 7 years here.
Right.
So
Right.
if I don't have everything in line, they can go back right now, they can go from day one.
Yeah.
And that's a really scary point to realize that, okay, my grassroots learning experiences, they can go back right now.
Mhm.
I hope everything's in order, but I know things are in order because of the constructive criticism that my CPA actually gave me. She was thorough. She went through everything. But I had to have that conversation with somebody that was in the field to get that recommendation. I didn't get that. I think I got so and so's CPA down the street. They kind of dealt with so and so's books, and then I took that recommendation instead of getting someone in the industry.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing as a business owner. You really want to surround yourself with people in different industries that can actually speak life into your business. Because mom and pa, like your family is not going to give you the best advice. Your friends aren't going to give you the best advice because they're not in the situation that you're in. It's all going to be hearsay. So you're not actually going to get valuable information than those that are actually practicing it every single day.
Mhm. Right. And I think too with family friends, I call it the family friends type of deal. They have the best intentions, but we you need
They
a
do.
you need another set of eyes
They
where
do.
their scope is a lot broader, and you need the eyes that are coming from the outside in, not from kind of the inside out. And that's kind of how I like to look at family and friends, and they're going to have some biases.
They'll tell
Yeah,
you that you're crazy for starting
yeah,
a business. They'll tell
yeah,
you that
yeah.
you should just go get a real job. They'll tell you all the things that are not beneficial to building. I know my parents doubted me, and I was like, you know what? I'm just doing this because I know I'm supposed to do this. Don't even, you know, but at the end of the day, I think there's just a level of concern because they know the financial implications that can come from a failed business.
Mhm.
And they say in the first 10, even first 5, 10 years,
Yeah.
businesses fail all the time. But it really comes down to the individual that's running it. That are you diligent enough with your resources? Are you willing to make, when it's uncomfortable, make those really hard decisions that will potentially set you up for the rest of your life. It's something that it's an ongoing process. The gravy train sometimes slows down. Are you okay with that? And are you okay with you know hiring experts when you don't know yourself what you are doing?
Right. And that's
That's the
key
biggest.
to be able to identify your weaknesses, but to take it a step further and be okay with your weaknesses. And I say, and okay with your weaknesses to the point where you can begin to find somebody to fill that gap that now
Absolutely.
is an expert in your weaknesses. Because sometimes
Absolutely.
you get so caught up in trying to build an image, try to do, have this branding for our business. We're so focused on the services and da 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 and our dreams and how big the business is going to go and expansion that it's a journey to get there. And you yourself as a business owner are also going through the journey.
Yeah.
There's
So true.
character. I like to call it business integrity, but your character is constantly, your attitude, your communication. Are you doing what you say you're going to do? Are you committing to what you tell me you're going to do? If there's a disagreement, how are we working? If we don't see eye to eye on that, or this project doesn't go the way we want it, how are we handling that? So we are being challenged to the core every single day. One of my other mentors say that you lay your life down for your business.
Mm-hmm.
Other people like to say you're married to your business is your
Mm-hmm.
spouse, that type of thing, however you want to term it. But I agree with that term where, you're really laying your life down for your business because your
Yeah.
business is constantly challenging you in good ways, in bad ways. Your business is keeping you accountable.
Yeah.
And if you can't identify with that, then we're doing something wrong, and we got to kind of back up and say, okay,
Yeah.
what's happening here. We got to reevaluate that. So,
Yeah.
but the
Very
other
true.
thing I want to mention is when it comes to family and friends, is not being afraid, knowing what the right investment is within your business, because there are
Mm-hmm.
certain things that we cannot be cheap on. I'm just going to be real. We cannot afford to say, hey, I'm going to, go down this easy path, or I'm going to just get Joe Schmo down the street, this mom and pop, this little family business. Not to say that family businesses aren't good, but are they good for that particular thing you're trying to accomplish? Number one. Number two is the timing and the expertise.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are going to have to shove out a little bit more money to get that quality in a particular area of
Yes.
my business, and we
Yeah.
cannot skimp back. So my point is, there are things that you just can't skimp on. It's just like every other part of our life. Like ladies with our shampoo and our hair, we know that there are certain products that are just not going to, have good results on our hair, and we can't use that cheap product. We're going to have to level up. It's the same thing that applies to business with anything relating to our finances. We can't scale that back. We have to
Mhm.
not be scared to spend, an extra money to get quality, quality, quality. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
true. It's true. Like I know my first 2 years, we really relied on referrals and we had no online presence.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of marketers, even ourselves included, would probably say now, like, oh, work on your online presence. But it really depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
We had some great clients. We worked with some fantastic people. Things were moving. At the time, I didn't need it. It was when, things pivoted and all of a sudden we're like, okay, I guess this is time. Like there's a season for growth in every stage of business. When you first start out, Don't go for all the frills, man. Don't try and
Yeah,
be
yeah.
bigger than you are. Like,
I love this
be
interview.
real. Be
I
real.
love, I love this interview. I've got to have you back, Sherri, because I just feel like fire, like it's like boop, boop, like a ping pong
It's
game going.
so, I'm full of information. I've
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
so
I
much.
love it. I love it. I mean, here I am moving on the edge of my seat, and that's a good thing.
I
But yeah, talk to
learned
us.
so much.
Yeah, you
Cut back.
and this is why you have to have collaborations. You've got to
Yeah.
get out there, talk to other business owners.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm not going to really speak a whole lot into it, but you cannot be afraid of competition. You cannot
Totally.
be afraid. You have got to be healthy in your skin of your business, skin in the game.
Yep.
That's a whole lot right there. I'm going to do a teaching on that.
Girl, I changed my mindset on that one. It's okay to have competition because it means it's needed in the industry. Like, totally different mindset of like, oh, these people are competing against me. No, no, this is needed. I am needed. So now I need to get my voice out.
And there's so many things now. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna do my next video will be, I might even do
We'll
one.
connect.
Yeah, I might even do one today, and maybe we'll do a series on it. Who knows? But
Oh
that's why
man.
I like to do collaborations because it helps me it helps me
Yeah.
creative-wise. Because then I like I'll hear something and it's
Yep.
like, okay, I need to do a topic on that. I need to do a topic on this, and it helps me with my content. So this is why I love
Totally.
collaborate, and I'm
Totally.
learning. It's learning. I don't mind learning. But let's get back to that competition about not being scared of competition
Mm-hmm.
because I was feeling that with a colleague in the industry, also a business consultant. And I was like, no, I'm not. I see what you're doing, but it was kind of in a negative connotation with competition. You have healthy competition and then you have negative competition. Let's be
Yeah.
clear. And I felt this in a negative kind of way. And I said, no, because they're a consultant as well. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm saying, I applaud you for what you do. I
Yeah.
don't, there are some things that,
Yeah.
I disagree with, but, it's your business. It's not mine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you have your reasons for feeling that particular way, blah, 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 you
Yeah.
know. But that doesn't mean I'm going to get up and do anything negative relating to your business. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be comfortable in your skin, the skin of your business. And that speaks again to your fortitude, your character, your integrity, and all of that. And that's a process, it's a journey because we all have stages and phases and da 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
and challenges and weaknesses and things we got to work out. And, because the
Mm-hmm.
industry is changing, we have a new weakness and blah, 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 and working through that. But
Very true.
with that being said, healthy competition is needed because of you want to think of the service you're giving in general. You want to leave a lasting impression. You want to establish relationship with that prospect and client. You want to have long-term relationship. You want
Yeah.
referrals, as Sherri mentioned. You
Yep.
want that word of mouth, which is the oldest school,
Mm-hmm.
as long as I've known, never fails
Yeah.
communication is that word of mouth. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that goes right back to your integrity and speaks to who you are and who your business is. And then the not being scared of competition in the sense of you can do a collaboration with them.
Yeah.
What can you learn from them that can be a takeaway that can help you do something better in your business or something you never even thought of? I'll give an example. Sherri, my guest here, Sherri Moore, Canada, has got her business, Send Me Tasks, and they help businesses, as she said, with virtual design, and she'll talk more in detail about her services. But meeting her and getting to speak with her a few times, and there was a pain point I had. I'm not going to go into detail with it. However, there's a lot of things from talking with her that we share a lot of commonalities and how we feel about business. And you can see it coming forth in this interview, but both of us are very passionate. And with that being said, I don't look at myself as the best person, my business having social presence. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be real. I don't look at my business as a business that has the best presence. We are still working to go yes, we're on every platform. Yes, we have some podcasts. Yes, there's some new developments. We have our own magazine now. We're doing a lot of more speaking engagements and so forth. And there's some new developments coming out. We're doing a virtual conference that's coming out April 23rd to the 24th, a virtual conference called Business Health and Fitness Expo. For more information on that, email me at vwilliams at dimensionaltalentstreams.com. Virtual conference, Business Health and Fitness Expo. And we're just going to be kind of happy talking about some of the things that Sherri and I are talking about. It will be myself, another guest. We're going to be talking about looking back at yourself as a business owner and those healthy things, but scaling it back to you because you're the face of your business. And if you're not healthy, it's going to bleed out into your business. So we're going to be looking at that virtually and doing a 3-day conference. There is a minor cost just to cover some of the things that I really want to roll out. There is going to be gifts, prizes to the first 20 people that register early. Registration is open. Early bird registration, first 20 people who register from now through March the 31st will be given some prizes and so forth. And then, registration is going to close April the 15th. So wanted to give that plug. But going back to the communication, that whole conference that I'm doing came about through a collaboration, came about through another business owner, another consultant such as myself in the same industry. But because I was comfortable in my skin and she was, there was no competition to say, oh, you're a consultant, I can't deal with you, or what have you. But I brought her on because there was some facets that are as a part of my DNA that I was like, oh, we've got to do something. And as a result, we kept talking and talking. I had her on my podcast back and forth. She's even come out from California to visit me because she had another event in the area. And as a result, I said, it's always been in my heart to do a conference. I'm going to roll this out. And the first person that came to mind was that young lady. And I called her and I said, hey, let's do this. Are you interested? And she was like, yeah. And so here we are. But that's an example of being comfortable in your skin, healthy competition where you can say, okay, it's not in a negative way, but how can we stretch one another? How can we stretch our businesses to do better and to bring more value and creative ways of accomplish some things? I might do something this way and you have a better way, which gets back to my point with you, Sherri, my presence. This is what a part of what you do is presence, with the digital design and all that. And I don't feel like, okay, I've got the best, it's still a work in progress, but there's a couple of, platforms I've got my eyes on that, we're going to be scaling in the next couple of months this year and, taking it to a whole level. So I'm kind of really trying to take a step back and not spread myself out too thin from a financial standpoint with these other areas in presence and really focus on the two that I've kind of grown and now am ready to take to another level. But here I can say that and not be comfortable with that and not be feeling like, oh, I can't say that because she's got this presence now and this is what she does and I can't really say I've got to be, no, I'm comfortable in my skin. And that's the whole reason why I do this platform, because I'm comfortable in my skin. I can have different business owners on from different areas. I can have another business consultant, financial educator on and talk about it, and not because I'm like, okay, what can I learn? What can I, like you had a suggestion the other day. We met one another, Sherri and I, through a mutual platform of business owners, and we had another conversation. And she talked about one of the awards that she has gotten last year and how she wants to keep that award this year. And she talked about her journey with that. And I'll let you speak more to that. But she said, Valerie, have you ever put yourself out there to get some nominations for, awards? And I said, no, I haven't. And, she gave her reason as to why she did what she did. And I want you to share on that because I think this is a teachable moment. But that whole conversation that we had around that area was a teachable moment for me because I was like, oh, the light bulb went. I was like, I've never thought about that. I've never looked at it from that way. I've felt like I've had to be in business for 25 years to ask for a nomination. So she gave me a different mindset, a different angle to look at something and reevaluate and say, no, we did it because we wanted to build XYZ. We
Yeah.
won the reward. Now that has added to what our goal in this area. And now, because I got a little bit of a competitive spirit in a good way, we want to hold on to that for another year. So speak to that, because that was a teachable moment for me. And I think it will add more to folks understanding not to be scared of competition in a healthy way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of to add to that too, before I get into the word, is realizing that we are just all people. It doesn't matter what you do, how long you've been in business. It doesn't matter what type of prestigious esteem you've achieved.
Come
We
on.
are all individuals. I worked in the entertainment a little bit, doing conferences and stuff. And so I'd see like bands and artists and different things come across, and people would be, the term is fangirling, the area of like, oh my goodness, that's so and so. Oh my goodness, da da da. And to be quite honest, it didn't really, they're just human beings. They're legit, just human beings. And so sometimes as business owners, we do the same thing and say, oh, so and so is in this industry and they're so prestigious and they're so this, that, and the other. We stick them up on a pedestal
Yeah.
when ultimately they are just the same as you and I, hitting the ground running in the same capacity, if not different. And we somehow just change our mindset on who they actually are. So anyways, let's get into the award. Um,
No, that was good. Speak. I mean, not, it's an open
it's
forum on the talent stream.
ultimately, I've just seen it so many times. It's a bit of a soapbox for me
Yeah.
because, we are no better than anyone else. Um, I don't know. I don't know why we get this idea mindset of, oh, holier than thou. I'm gonna kiss the feet that you walk on, or the ground that you walk on. But the award really got me thinking, because we won. What was it now? Oh boy, local business owner of the year, I believe,
Yes.
and so they're doing it regionally, which is fabulous. We got it again this year, so thank you
We did.
everybody. Yes, we
Congratulations.
did. Yeah. So it's been 2 years in a row now for the Surrey region. So it's super, super exciting for us. But I had to, I think last year, I really had to change my mindset as well. It doesn't matter. This is a great opportunity. It's a great promotional opportunity for us. It doesn't cost us anything. It takes time of my day, to
Say that again. This was a great what?
opportunity,
And what kind of opportunity was it?
promotional opportunity.
Okay, I want
That's
y'all to
all it
hear
is.
this. I want y'all to hear this. This is value.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the award it really is, as long as it's prominent to the business.
Mhm.
And it doesn't really matter who's awarding the award, because it's just visibility. It's ultimately getting the word out, saying that Send Me is here to help. We're here to meet small business owners. So I would actually go online, and after networking with someone for a while, I'd go through and say, hey, this award's up. Do you mind voting for us? And asking for that vote. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have gotten the votes that I had last year. I wouldn't have gotten the votes that I got this year. And it also opened up the conversation of, oh, you don't know anything about us? Oh, well, let's change that.
Sherri, I love that. When you told me that, I said, what? But I love the fact that you said to me, Valerie, have you put yourself up for any rewards? And I was
Yeah.
like, what? What are you talking about? And I'm telling you guys, when she asked me that, I was like, no, I have to be in business for 25 years. I got to be
No.
a certain stat. And I was like, and I just looked at myself as the little guy back here in this mountain in North Carolina. No, that's
Mm-mm.
not my realm. And you had to really
Mm-mm.
say to me, Valerie, well, this is what we did, and we did it. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to take note of that, and I was like, oh, that is a gem right there. So go ahead
Yeah.
and talk about
Well,
that.
I saw someone else doing it. So it was some local award in the region, and they would just start asking people to vote for them. And it wasn't even the same platform that you and I connected on. It was totally different. It
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, People's Choice, or it was some type of whatever. I don't know. Clearly, it didn't matter to me either. But I saw them going, hey, on social media, would you vote for us? And then when I saw that we could also apply for another award. I'm like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I ask people? Why can't I network? Why can't? And then what's stopping me from networking? What's stopping me from promoting the business? What are some avenues that I can, like, why? Why not? And
Absolutely.
started an um, internal conversation with
Yeah.
myself to realize that there
Come
was
on.
nothing stopping me.
Come on.
That this is great optics. This is, we want to merge more into the US market. Well, hello. How am I going to do that? Well, getting off my tuchus and going to do it. So for me, it was a mindset shift. Instead of, oh, people have to nominate me and they have to think of me and it's all this.
You take the reins and you
Yeah.
flip that paradigm and
Mm-hmm.
you say, and because I cannot, I just got to laugh because sometimes the most simplest thing we look at it and we don't take it so serious and
So easy.
we make it to be more complicated. And then, it's just like this aha moment, like, why didn't I think of that? Well, you are now, so run with it. And
I
I just
know.
love how you just flip the paradigm to say, okay, you don't know who I am. So yes, now let's have a conversation and let me tell you who I am. That way you can go ahead and vote for me.
And the reality is I have more of those like, well, we don't know you. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect. You want to connect? Let's connect. Let's change it. Like some people were like, you'll get the odd rude one, but in business, who's not rude? You're always going to get somebody that, has something up and they're just having a bad day. Just
Right.
chalk it up to that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you got an excuse as to why you won't vote for us? Okay, let's talk.
Mhm.
Let's connect. I'll give you a reason why you should. Just give me a call. Just get me on a phone call with you. I'll change your mind. Next thing you'll know, you'll be referring clients to us. That's
Right.
great. No
Right.
problem. I'm here to
Absolutely.
serve. I'm not here to really promote necessarily. I'm here to get to know people. Changing the mindset from, oh, I'm here to make money to I'm here to serve. I'm here to make your life easier. How can I help? And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get on consultation calls as well. You've never heard of us. You maybe got a referral from somebody. And my first word is, hi, so and so. How can I help?
Mhm.
Because I want to know what you're struggling with, how we can come alongside of you in your vision, not what can I sell you? Not a
Yeah, because you and
used
I can
car
attest
salesman.
to that. I can attest to that because, I was asking you a question. I said, oh, she does, design. She does a little bit with this. Let me ask her, and was talking to you about, website stuff and,
Yeah,
doing some changes with my website and adding some new services. And, I had some pain points and I was like, just ask her, because maybe I can, learn something, get another perspective. Maybe I'm just looking at it from this perspective because that's all I know. And
right.
you may be able to push that, paradigm. And so the first thing you said to me was, Val, what's the pain points? And I was like, I got a list. There's about four or
Yeah.
five of them. And it was like,
Huh.
but with that, by you asking me what my pain points were, Sherri, just that simple thing,
Yeah.
it caused a journey within me. It opened up it caused me to pivot in a new way because here we are in this world, business owners, entrepreneurs, those who want an opportunity, those who even are not in business, but just life in general, how to handle a issue or a problem that is just a part of life. I was able to look at that and having to write out those pain points, Sherri, it was like, okay, let's look at number one. Because to me, I was like overwhelmed because I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
am not the best techie. I can sit and figure it out, but
It's
it's
my
going to
road,
take
girl.
time. And I would rather be out there, doing in my marketing and sales. I would rather be out there interviewing people for my platform.
Yeah.
That's Valerie. I don't want the
Yeah.
technical piece. Yes, is my weakness, and I'm not scared to admit it. However, I can sit down and figure it out. But what I will do, I have my IT folks, but when I find somebody else who's got IT expertise, I'm like, oh. But anyway, it caused me to pivot because I was able to write it out, look at it,
Yeah.
and to say, well, excuse me, and to say, okay, how that pain point, how can we fix that? Like, what is
Yeah.
in my hands right
Yeah.
now that I can tangibly do to fix that? She offered up this, she told you this from her perspective. Now, what am I going to do with that information, that new additional information to my
Mm-hmm.
problem? And so at the end of the day, I had to look back and say, Valerie, a part of the reason why you've got that problem is because you are spreading yourself too thin time wise.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to evaluate your time, look at what you're doing within your time, and reprioritize what you're doing in your time because I was overly busy. I mean, I'm a person where I can get 5, 6 hours of sleep and I'm good. But there were a lot of days where I was getting 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep. And sometimes
Ooh,
I will stay up and I will do a job until it's done.
that's
Not,
too much.
not realizing that, Valerie, that job you had is
Mm-hmm.
what you can spread out for the whole week. You
Mm-hmm.
just balance that out. You balance that out. I will admit I'm a workaholic. I am. I
Aren't
am.
we all? I think
And
I
I
was up till like 9 o'clock last night.
I'm from the healthcare industry as well. And so you know
Mm,
how that is. And so
yeah.
that bleeds into my business. But with that being said, I was forced to make a decision because I still do healthcare. I still do healthcare. And I was doing a lot of hours with my healthcare position. And they finally came to me and said, Valerie, you're doing way too much. You're doing like 80 hours a week. It's like you've got two
Mm,
full-time jobs. We've got to cut you back. You've been doing this for so long. We have got to cut you back because you're going to burn. And I was fighting. Now this is confession, and I was fighting, Sherry. I was like, no, 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 blah, 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 blah. And I was fighting
yeah.
because I'm one of those people that when I'm committed, I'm 100%, I'm 110% in, and I'm a
Same
bulldog,
here.
when I am committed to something. And sometimes I hold on too tight. When it's time to let go, I'm fighting because I don't want to let go because I'm overly committed. But with that being said, I had, some internal stuff had to go on, and I had to wrestle with my demons and say, okay, we're gonna let go. We're gonna let go. And
Yeah.
so they scaled me back, and it has been the best thing for me. And one of the
Mm,
things that I said with those pain points with some of my techie stuff was, I don't have the time to do it.
yeah.
And so when this presented itself within my healthcare industry position, it was like, okay, now you've got time. You've got time now. Go back and look at this tech issue because it's not that you can't do it. You just would prefer not to do it. Is
Yeah.
it a weakness? Yes, but you
Yeah.
have the resources to say, hey, and call one of your IT people and say, hey, da 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 da. You've got resources to work through it.
So true.
So I was able to work through it and say, okay, all right, I've got time now. Let me go back and reevaluate. But I've got my
Mm,
IT people. I even have you, Sherry, to say, hey, what do you think about this? I'm gonna do. So I
yeah.
share that to say that was something that I had to wrestle with, deal with, and work through, come
Yeah.
through on the other side. The way to deal with weakness, reevaluate things, shift things,
Yeah.
and come out on the other side. You
Well,
know.
that's why I ask because sometimes we look at it as a big picture thing. Like, for example, oh, this video needs to be created, or this website needs to be edited, or this document needs to be created, or made changes to. Excuse me, but without the specifics, we don't really understand the complexity or the simplicity of the situation.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why I ask, what's the pain points? What's going on? Give me the down low. Because unless I can pinpoint what exactly needs to be done, I really can't help you. I'm not in your head, you know? So sometimes I really get down to the nitty gritty with some business owners when we sit down and just say, okay, what's going on? What are you struggling with? What are you good at? What are you not good at? Because I know what I'm good at. I also know what I'm really not good at.
Right,
My
right.
first 2 years of finances. Okay, let's just not go there, but
And
it's
sometimes
understanding.
and that's a key indicator that those things that you're really really not good at, not only being comfortable to say I'm
Yep.
not really good at it, but what I'm going to do to make sure that that area is taken care of
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
with excellence,
Yeah.
because you just can't afford that. That means you're not supposed to do that. You are not supposed
Totally.
to do that because a lot of business owners think they have to do everything and they have
Yep.
to be versed in everything. Otherwise, they feel like, well, it's not my business or
Yeah.
it's not my business. And if that is the thing that makes you want to eat tax, eat bullets, get a brick and throw it, that's something you're not supposed to do. You should be able to hand that off, but just not in a careless way. Do the research, have some basics. So if they come back to you and say, da 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 da, you can say yay or nay. You have a clue of what they're talking about. It doesn't give permission to say, I still don't need to know about that area because I'm not good in it. You should still
Absolutely.
try to get the basics so that if
Absolutely.
something goes wrong and they come to you, you're not like a deer in headlights, like, what are you talking about? And you're not saying, well, it's your
Yeah.
area, deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So still.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely gives us a when I'm able to simplify and make sense of the situation, when you're like, hey, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, I can then educate you.
Right.
So you are not the deer in headlights. You are not the idiot walking in and going, here, can you take this? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's the reality. And that's also a good portion and a good reason why I started building out a team, because I'm not an expert in everything, but I also know that they are, because I hired them to be. So I expect you to make sense of this. One good example is my web developer. There's some things that I'm like, excuse me, can you run that by me again? Like, I legit do not understand that. And because of our relationship, he's able to walk me through it so that I can sell better, so that I can assist clients better, so that I can do so much more. But don't be afraid to ask those questions. Don't be afraid to say, okay, these are my pain points. I need help in these areas. I need a bookkeeper. I don't know what I'm doing. I need an accountant.
Yeah.
Still don't know what I'm doing. I need a graphic designer. I don't know how they do it.
I gotta say,
Here.
one of my mentors, you know, he's phenomenal. When I think about him, I just tear up. he's that
Mm,
he's that dear to me. But he is the sweetest man, and you look at him, and he's the simplest man out of South Carolina. Terry Wilson, you're listening. I love you. Shout out. You truly are Papa. But he he still challenges me, like, and I can feel myself fighting. When I say challenge, I'm just like, oh, Terry, no, I don't want to do that. Or, oh, Terry, why are you asking me to do this? And and he'll challenge me, and he'll be like, Val,
mhm.
and it's like, Val, no, I know it's your weakness. I know you're gonna have to deal with your demons with this. I know you're gonna have to do whatever you got to do, to get through this. But at the end of the day, when that other person has that problem,
Yep.
he's thinking about what it's going to do in me to better me,
Yeah.
and how that's going to reflect when I have my prospects and my clients. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because, and to make it a teachable moment
Yeah.
where it can also develop into a gift that was laying dormant in them, that they never thought
Yeah.
they had,
Yeah.
that they could later on down monetize. Like
Mhm.
when I built my website, but my mentor pushed me and said, here's the blueprint.
Mhm.
Here's what you do. Now go and do it. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, no. And he's like, Val, you can do it. It's easy, da 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 da.
Yeah.
But then when I did it, Sherri, I felt like I could conquer anything. Now,
Yeah.
do I want to go and do it again from scratch? And with the conversations I've had, no.
Nope.
But
I
then,
don't either. I did
but,
mine too. I don't want to do it
but
again.
it's challenging me. And now,
Oh yeah.
it's challenging me. But now it's like, no, you're really not building it from scratch. You're just updating it.
Yeah.
It's just this. And then I have to work through my demons, because it's almost like I have PTSD from certain tech things. And he'll work me through it. And then I'll have to step back and say, okay, it was the way it was communicated. Maybe I wasn't comfortable with that term when you said HTML and go and find this driver and, see if you have this plugin and blah, blah, blah. And then the term, and it's like, okay, go and deal with that demon first, then go learn that terminology and then scale it back. Say, okay, what's the next steps for me to get to?
Yeah.
So
We're
I,
always an expert in our own problems, aren't we?
yeah. But I want you to just, we're going to wrap up right here. We got like 5 minutes left, and to respect
Same.
our time and all that. Sherri, I feel like we've gotten so much teachable moments, some real practicality from this. We've got some things that we can even be a takeaway for us to implement. I know for me it has, and something to
Mhm.
challenge us as well. Share with us how we can find you, information, all of that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so if you're a business owner looking to get some support with some day-to-day stuff or some creative, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. You can find us at www.sendmetasks.com. You can also send me an email at hello@sendmetasks.com as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Sherri, I'm not going to keep you. I just want to thank you for being able to come on. I want to respect your time and all that. It was such fun, and I was on the edge of my seat. And I just hope that viewers and listeners, I know y'all will get value out of this. We'll be able to sit there and relate to some things and laugh at some things and, maybe
Yeah,
wrestle
absolutely.
with some things. And at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, this platform is meant to inspire, also to challenge in a positive way, push your paradigm, give you some new ways to do
Yeah.
some things that you may never have thought of, and to really take some risks, with collaborations, partnerships, getting yourself out there and promoting yourself, healthy competition.
Yeah.
I just did a video on my YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams, on, revisiting the foundation of your business
Mm-hmm.
and just what was your first love of going into business?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you loved when you started out in business? And
Mm-hmm.
identifying those areas and looking at those areas and saying, okay, I've got that expertise. Now, how can I go further with that? How can I maybe pull out an income stream out of that now that
Yeah.
I have this expertise in this area, and just keep building and developing and not stopping because you have an expertise in an
Yeah.
area, or maybe many areas. But with
Yeah.
that being said, Sherri, if you can stay on just for 5 minutes more, I'm going to close
Sure.
us out. This is Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams. Like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams. Visit me at vwilliams at dimensionaltalentstreams.com so that you can register for the virtual conference April 22nd to the 24th. Again, I'm Valerie Williams, directing you in being fruitful and multiplying. Until next week, everyone, bye-bye.